Hi friends, it's Mari here for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. I'm going to be working in my Heidi Swapp Chapters insert today, and I absolutely love working in this little album and this insert. This trend is absolutely perfect for me, and I'm going to be actually creating with 8 different photos today. And so one of the things that I love so much about this format is that you can get a bunch of different photos in a layout and do tons of journaling. And I'm going to be working with Heidi's Carefree collection, which is absolutely gorgeous. So all of these different little photos here are printed at 2 inches by 2 inches square. I've put those through Lightroom and adjusted them, and obviously I've got them all printed and cut down to the proper size and everything. I have this die cut piece here picked out, chosen for one of the elements on my double page layout here today. I'm just going to show you here, this is the die cut ephemera pack that I chose that piece from. And again, that is from the Carefree collection. And I just love this collection so much. It's so pretty. Now I am going to take this die cut and I am going to score it at 1/4 of an inch. And I am going to fold that over and add some adhesive to that fold. And then this is going to be an interactive element on the left side of my double page spread here. So you're just going to see me here folding on that score that I created using my scoreboard and my bone folder. I'm going to use some double-sided Suquang tape on that flap here. This is some 1/8 of an inch a double-sided adhesive. This is just a perfect size of adhesive for the size of this little flap. I will adhere that down to the flap and just burnish that down using my pokey tool here, my tonic craft tool. Just take that backing off and I will go ahead and adhere that down to that left side. And I really love how this is going to just provide a really fun little spot for some hidden journaling and yet add a really nice bit of embellishing to that left side. I also love that that's going to be a spot to add some other stickers and some stamping you'll see me do here in a minute. Now this is the sticker book that's part of the Carefree collection as well. I'm just going to show you here, there's tons of stickers in this sticker book. What I wanted to use is one of the circular shapes in here to create a little tab or a little place to keep my flap closed. But you can just see here all of the different great stickers that are in that sticker book. And true to Heidi's style, there's lots of labels in there and of course tons of little phrase stickers. Fantastic. Now I'm going to take the sticky off this one circle shape that I have here. I'm going to pop up that circle with some foam adhesive and I'm going to place it near that die cut flap there just so that this will hold that flap shut in that way. And then I can just, take that little flap, slide it to the left and open it up and then secure it back in underneath that circle element so that it will stay closed. Now, these are some of Heidi's alpha stamps. I love these stamps. This stamp set is so good. You can purchase these on Heidi's website, I believe, and they're just so fantastic. I love them. I've had these for a while now, and they're just so great for creating titles and all kinds of different elements on your projects. And I'm using some Rusty Hinge Distress Oxide ink here to do some stamping and create kind of like a little bit of title area going on there on that die cut piece. And I'm actually going to spell out April and May because this double page spread is going to cover stories from the months of April and May. And I actually think I have a few more pictures that I printed off that I still need to do an additional layout for as well following this one to document a few more stories from these 2 months. So I'm also using the brand new Salvage Patina from Tim Holtz, the Oxide. These 2 colors go beautifully with the Carefree collection. And so I'm using the Rusty Hinge for April and the Salvage Patina for May. And there you will just see there, I've got that really fun font. I used a combination of the small and large letters. And that alpha set includes a large uppercase A and a small uppercase A, etc. for all 26 letters of the alphabet. And there's also a bunch of symbols and punctuation marks and like all kinds of stuff. I love that stamp set. It's so good. So now I'm just going to take some Gina K tape runner and I am going to adhere start to adhere some of the photos down here on my layout. So I'm going to start off with this photo here, and I want it to be over close to the gutter in the center of the page there. Now, what I'm documenting here is getting my COVID-19 vaccine, and I am going to use from another stamp set of Heidi's the word hope, because that's kind of the gist of the journaling that I'm doing here, is just how I just couldn't even believe how hopeful this vaccine made me feel. It was just really quite a fantastic moment and just made me feel actually carefree. It's kind of like the name of that collection. I just felt really good after getting that vaccine, and definitely so full of hope. So I'm stamping out that word hope with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I just love how crisp that is. And now you can see I've added some journaling in between a couple of those elements there, including the photo, to document that story. Now I'm going to take 3 more photos. I'm going to adhere 2 below the section above here, just side by side. I'm going to try to keep the space between all of the photos that are together. I'm going to try to keep that space between the photos sort of the same on both sides of my page, just to keep that symmetrical. So you'll just see that I'm going to butt those 2 photos up against each other there, and then I'll put the other photo to the bottom left, and that's all part of the same story. So I'm going to document that story in the little square space above this photo that I'm adhering down now. And I'm also going to put some more journaling behind that flap, the April and May flap there. I'll add some journaling behind there later as well. Now, I did decide as an afterthought that I wanted to round the corners on this die cut piece. So you'll just see me here taking my EK Success corner rounder, and I'm just going to do that quickly. I also really love this rainbow washi. Well, I love all of the washi that's part of this collection. It's beautiful, but I just really love these little boho rainbows. I love that this washi tape has all of the different colors from the collection in it, and it definitely has kind of like that rusty hinge and patina colors in it. So I wanted to use that as a little strip at the bottom, and you'll see me using it on the left side, and then to create an eye line across from the left to the right side of my double page spread. I will put that tape on the right side at the bottom a little bit later. Now, I did some journaling and I printed that on some vellum. I just measured in Microsoft Word a text box that would be the perfect size to go below those 2 photos. I cut a piece of pattern paper from the 8x6 pattern paper pad to back my vellum. I'm going to just staple the vellum onto that pattern paper, and that will just fit perfectly in that little space below the 2 photos. And I'm just journaling about how right now we're just planning on building a cottage, and we have the property built or property purchased, and my husband's been clearing the property. We won't build the cabin until next summer, but we've been looking at different types of cabins and that sort of thing. And so that's what I'm documenting about here, is we visited a sample sort of cabin, a cabin that's already built by some builders. And we went and looked at this show home, so to speak, I guess. And that's what I am documenting about all 3 of these photos here. So I've adhered that down now again with that Gina K tape runner. I actually added a little bit of vellum tape runner in that green tape runner that you can see off to the right there, and just to hold that vellum down to the patterned paper as well. Now I've got some journaling added on the left side to go with those 3 photos, and I'm going to start working on the right side. Now I wanted to create an interactive flap, and I want my interactive flap to have some vellum on it. So I cut a strip of pattern paper from that same 8x6 pattern paper that I used for behind the journaling on the left side there with that vellum. I'm going to try to use up more of that paper on this spread and bring that paper over to the right side. I am cutting a piece of paper that's exactly the same size from the vellum and that pattern paper, and I will just go ahead and score about 1/4 inch fold here on both of those papers to create a little flap. So you'll just see me here scoring that at 1/4 inch. I will fold that over. I will use some double-sided adhesive on those pieces to adhere that down to the right side of my double page spread here. So I'm just folding that And that will be all good to go here. And I'm also going to add one of the vellum pieces from the sticker book. So that's, I think, or actually, no, this is that vellum dreamy piece there is actually a die cut. And this sticker that I'm laying down here is a vellum sticker from the sticker book. And this dreamy piece here, this dreamy die cut from the ephemera, I'm actually going to adhere that down with that same vellum adhesive here. You're just going to see me grabbing that vellum adhesive, and I will adhere that to that vellum flap. The nice thing about that vellum adhesive is that you can't see that on the vellum when it's adhered down. So you're just going to fiddle around with that and get that positioned so that it's more or less centered underneath that floral piece. And now what I wanted to do is go through the little tag ephemera pack and choose a tag for on top of my flap. And I'm going to flip through and look at some more of these, but I do go with that circle one there that I showed at the beginning. But all of these tags are gorgeous. They all have really nice phrases on them, just a beautiful different images on them as well, and graphic design. They're just gorgeous. And I always love Heidi's tag packs when she comes out with a new collection. I always purchase a tag pack because they're great, and they're really awesome for these chapters inserts as well. So if you've been working on this type of memory keeping with the chapters inserts, definitely the tags are fantastic for that. So this is the tag that I'm going to go with, and I am going to adhere that onto that vellum piece with a brad. So I'm going to just get a little my pokey tool out here again, and I'm going to use a little mini mouse pad and poke through another piece of white cardstock that I have cut with my 1.5 inch circle punch, and I'm going to put the brad through the tag and through that white cardstock circle. And then I'm also going to put that through my flap. And you'll see the method to my madness here once this is all put together. But that is a brad from my stash, and it's an old brad stash from probably 20 years ago. So, those are things that you never want to get rid of out of your stash, I think, because they're little tools that you can use, or little ephemera, not really ephemera, just little things that you can add to your embellishments is the word I'm looking for. Embellishments that you can add to your projects. So I'm just going to adhere that together with the brad, and then I will use some adhesive on those flaps and adhere that down to my page. So I'm just grabbing my double-sided tape here again, and I will use that for that flap. I will again use the 1/8 of an inch double-sided adhesive, but this flap is a little bit larger. I could have gone with a wider adhesive, but this is just what was on my desk, so this is what I am going to use. This is definitely a must-have adhesive when you're working with mini books like this or something like this where you're going to have to adhere a piece that's going to get moved a lot. You want to make sure you've got really, really good, strong adhesive, and this is definitely great stuff. So I'm going to add that on to a couple of pieces here on the flap and get that adhered down. I'm also going to adhere my photographs as well, and I'm going to again use that Gina K adhesive to adhere the photos down, making sure that I leave room over to the right side for that flap. So I'll get these put down. I'm going to be doing some journaling here about a river walk that we took a couple of weekends ago. It was just a beautiful day, and my son is actually in the process of having a house built, and it's really close to the river in the city where he lives, and it's just beautiful. And so we took a walk down to the river, and we were out on the sandbar and just kind of really having a beautiful walk and looking at all the different little places where he's going to be able to go for walks and hikes and bike rides and stuff like that. It's a really nice area. So here you can just see I took a picture of my feet in the sand. I actually should have flipped this photo over because of course it's from my vantage point when I'm taking the photo, but that's fine. We get the point, I guess, of what it was that I was taking a picture of there. And then I am going to attach the flap. So I'm just going to show you here how this flap is going to hinge once I get this all down. And you'll be able to see how that circle hinges as well. And you'll just see how the circle moves. You can just move it to the side. And then my plan is to do some journaling there on that white cardstock as well. And then when you lift the flap up, there's a spot for journaling below there. Also, you could put some photos underneath there as well. But my intention is to do some more typed journaling and put that in there. So that is all adhered now, and I am ready to go on to do some more stamping. So I want to put more of that stamping down onto the second side on my right here to bring in the element of the stamping that's on the left. So just to repeat that same stamping again in another area, just adds some symmetry and some cohesiveness to the entire layout. It just really, I think, adds that element of things being connected. And so I am going to put the title River Walk down on this area here where you can see me stamping, again using the Salvage Patina and the Rusty Hinge in the oxide inks to stamp that out. And I love these two colors together. They're gorgeous. And of course they go with this collection beautifully. So there you can see those two stamped areas. It just looks really nice. And I also wanted to repeat, like I said earlier, the washi tape at the bottom there as well. So I'm just going to add that washi tape to the bottom, just a smaller strip. It will be a less lengthy strip on this side as opposed to the other side, but you can just see how it creates a little bit of an eye line on through the two pages from one to the other. It just helps join the two pages together and create that unison or unity of the pages. Now I love this little die cut. That's that little boho rainbow. I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of something extra to this little area here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. I think that's super cute. And I will just pop that up on some foam adhesive there to give it a little bit of dimension, but not too much. And I'm just looking at the spread and trying to decide what else I want to add at this point. I have a lot of different pieces from this collection, so I did have lots of options. But really, if you don't have all of the different parts of a collection, you're always going to be able to find some element, whether it's a cut apart or maybe you can do some fussy cutting with some of the papers or whatever. There's always going to be some little element that you can add in the different little areas. But I definitely wanted to add one of the phrase stickers from Heidi's phrase sticker sheets. She's always got these little phrase sticker packs, and I love these. These are so good. And they've got like little definitions of things and that kind of thing on them, and they're just perfect. And the one that's at the top basically is Rusty Hinge in color. And so I just felt like it would add more of that color into the spread, and there's just a perfect spot for it below the photos there and then underneath the flap. So I've adhered that down now, and that just adds a little bit more interest. And I just love the cohesive nature of the color scheme and the different elements. It just all looks really cool. I love my chapters inserts, and this trend, I hope, just becomes, true and just never goes away, because I think I will always just scrap in and memory keep in this format because it's beautiful. It just really is. You can get a ton of photos on your spread. You can tell a ton of stories. The journaling can go on for days. As I said, this section underneath this flap, I'm quite certain will just be journaling. And you can see here, I just decided to round the corners on that flap just so that it goes nicely with that flap on the left. And now I just love my Heidi Swapp color shine. I really do. And so I'm going to add some gold color shine here, and I'll just splatter a little bit on that little ephemera piece that has the months on it. And I've got the other elements on that page covered up because I wanted a controlled splatter here. I don't want gold all over everything. And I'm going to splatter some of the color shine on the other little title area as well. And then I'll also put a little bit of splattering up to the far right side next to the flap, because I just wanted that to be sort of like a third little area, kind of like a visual triangle in the three areas to create the little bit of gold splattering. And that is going to finish off my layout today. I love how this turned out. I know I'm repeating myself, but I love the Heidi Swapp Chapters inserts. They're one of my favorite ways to document stories. And I love how this turned out, and I hope you did too. Thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Tried, Trendy, and True here on Scrapbook and Cards Today Magazine YouTube channel. I really enjoyed sharing this with you today. I hope you were inspired, and I hope you found some little nugget of inspiration here to help you tell a story that you've been wanting to tell and something that you've been wanting to document. So I hope you enjoyed. Have an amazing day, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you next month for Tried, Trendy, and True. Bye-bye.